Hello and welcome to Countdown. I'm Scott Leber. He is David Greenberg. We're glad you could join us for our midweek digital high school football show as we count down to the action each week.
We'll discuss the upcoming games for this weekend. We'll hear from Orangeville's Gunnar Lobdell about the Broncos' big win last week over Aquin. Preview a blockbuster game that just popped on the schedule between Dupo and St Teresa, and get to know Honeyga's Stuart Hale in our 2-minute drill.
We'll also look back at the top 5 plays from last week, plus have our stat stuffers and name our Week 4 MVP. And Candace King will tell us what we can expect weather-wise this weekend. Let's get started in the NIC 10. Currently, it's Belvedere North and Honeyga leading the way at 4-0. Boylan and Harlem are ready to pounce at 3-1. East and Freeport are trying to hang in the race at 2-2.
This Friday night, Boylan will host Honeyga in a huge game. It'll be our game of the week. This is one of the best matchups every year in the NIC 10. Boylan knocked off Honeyga last spring 21-7. That game left a bitter taste in the mouth of the Indians. Honeyga has rolled past its last 3 opponents after getting by Harlem in Week 1.
And Boylan has come on strong the last 2 weeks after slipping up in Week 2 against Belvedere North. I thought the Titans looked very good last Friday night when they beat East 40-0. When I asked the 2 head coaches this week what the common thread is in this rivalry, they gave me the same answer. Aretha Franklin would have loved this.
You know, the common thread that I would say anytime there's a Boylan-Honeyga matchup is I think there's mutual respect. I respect their players and their coaching staff. I know that they're going to be well-prepared athletes, that they work hard to get ready during the week, and I hope they feel the same about us. You know, we always know it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be, you know, a battle, but it's going to be, I think there's respect out there.
The coaches do a great job on both sides, I think, preparing. We've got all the respect in the world for Coach Zim and his staff up there. Our kids know their kids, so I think it's a natural rivalry. So again, we know things about those kids. They're good athletes, they're well prepared.
Yes, there is a lot of respect there. This is a rare instance where most of the other schools, David, around the NIC 10 are going to be rooting for the Boylan Titans, because if Boylan can knock off Honeyga, the NIC 10 race opens wide up.
Yeah, this is a weird kind of situation. Harlan would be right back in the race, of course, with Boylan as well, and potentially even East. And Belvedere North kind of has first place if they win on Friday. So yeah, a lot kind of at stake on Friday night. With plenty of Boylan Titan fans there.
Yeah, and another big game will be taking place in the NIC 10 Friday night, David, at Harlem's Peterson Stadium, East against Harlem. This is a rematch of the NIC 10 championship game we saw back in April.
The E-Rabs will be trying to bounce back from a loss to Honeyga last week. E-Rabs couldn't get much going offensively, and they won't have an easy time of it this week against Harlem's defense. The Huskies shut out Freeport last week. Need to keep stacking wins and hope Honeyga slips up Friday night at Boylan. Here's our head coach, Bob Moynihan.
The offense had to get going, and we kind of knew that going in. We had a bunch of young kids on the offense that had to learn it, work with it, and that's what they've been doing the last few weeks. Defense has been very successful. They were successful against Honeyga as well.
You're playing East Friday night, a rematch of the championship game from the spring. Are they? Do they have a different look or a different feel to them than they did in the spring?
You know, they're talented. They're a year older. They were pretty young last year, so they're a year older, and they work hard as well. I mean, they're a good team, and those young backs they're solid.
These are the other NIC 10 games that'll be played Friday night. Belvedere North at Auburn, Jefferson at Belvedere, and Freeport at Guilford. Belvedere North needs another win to stay on top of the conference. The Blue Thunder have big games coming up the next 2 weeks against Honeyga and Harlem.
They cannot get caught looking ahead, or Auburn could sting them. In that Jefferson-Belvedere game, one of those teams will get its first win, so while that's not a big game from a conference standpoint, it is big for the kids and the coaches at those schools.
Absolutely. Freeport needs a win to regain some momentum. The Pretzels have been soundly beaten the last 2 weeks by the 2 Hammers, Honeyga and Harlem. Guilford will be trying to maintain some momentum. The Vikings got their first win last week against Jefferson.
Let's digest all of this and some more with our NIC 10 analyst, Tim Bailey. Tim, let's begin with the game of the week, Honeyga against Boylan. This is a young Boylan team. They've looked really good last week against Auburn, but is this young Boylan team ready for everything that Honeyga is going to be throwing at it?
Yeah, I think they are. I think Boylan's going to be ready Friday night. I think they've made some great progress in the last couple of weeks since the bad loss to Belvedere North. I think obviously they were able to correct those mistakes that they made that night, and since then that offense has been on a roll. Defense has been playing well. Looks like they've been playing really well on special teams. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a really sound game. I think, with this game here, the stakes are high. Hononegah wins this game. Hononegah has a shot to go, through the Nick 10 the rest of the way, those next 4 or 5 games. So, I think Boylan's going to give them a test. I think it's going to be a really good game. Boylan's a different team than they were from 2 weeks ago. That's for sure.
Yeah, and just going right into what you were talking about, let's start with Boylan. Where has this team improved the most, and what are some question marks that they still have so far?
Well, I think they improved. Where I've seen over the last couple of weeks where they've probably improved the most is really at the quarterback position. This young gentleman has stepped up, Connor Dennis. I think he stepped up. I think he knows now, with that bad loss to Belvedere North, he didn't want to be a part of that, nor did his teammates, and I think he's learned and he's grown from that. I see this kid continue to mature, each and every week. And I think that was really one big position that they really needed to step up in and play well, that quarterback position, because again, with the absence of Benito Jazz, who they had last year, they really don't have that true leader, so to speak, that they have at that quarterback position. Somebody who can, run the ball if they need to, let the ball go in the air if they need to, and pass it and complete the passes, and continue to see that offense moving forward. So, that's one spot that I think Boylan has improved on. Some other areas I think they just need to continue to get better at. They need to get better at the wide receiver position. I know Apino is their go-to guy, but when you play against coming to games like this, especially a team against Hononegah, they're going to be keen on Apino. They're going to want to shut him down at that wide receiver position, and hopefully somebody else at the receiver position can step up. That's one big area I think Boylan really needs to improve on going forward.
Hononegah just keeps marching along. It doesn't matter who their quarterback is. It doesn't matter who their opponent is. They just keep thrashing teams. I'm going to make you a coach now, Tim. If you were coaching a team against Hononegah, what kind of game plan might you put together to try to upset the Indians?
Well, you know what I want to do? I want to put some pressure on Whisenhand. Arguably he's probably the best quarterback in the Nick 10. I'll say that again. He is probably arguably the best quarterback in the Nick 10. He can run it if he needs to. He can pass it. He's a very accurate passer. He's probably the most accurate passer that we have in the Nick 10 right now. I want to put pressure on him. I want to be in his face each and every play. He drops back, throw the ball. I'm going to put my hands on the young kid out of the backfield. I want to put my hands on him, slow him down, slow Goodwine down really, really well, and not let he and Whisenhand connect, because once they connect, that could be very dangerous, for the duration of the night. So, just putting a lot of pressure on Whisenhand and not allowing him to let him beat me with his arm talent, but more so with his legs, because I'm not saying he's not a good runner, but I think he's having the most success right now is in the passing game of Hononegah. So that's what I would do if I were a head coach. I'd send, 2-3 guys at him. I'd do some corner blitzing as well, just to slow him down and make him throw that tough pass. I want to take that heartbeat away from their offense, and he's that heartbeat.
Surely that is going to be a great game. Let's flip now to the East and the Harlem game. Both teams have really good defenses. You think their offense has some room to grow in a little bit, some areas?
Yeah, I think their offense, both their offense and their defense can grow, in different aspects. I'm just really looking forward to seeing a great offensive display on both sides of the ball, and also too on the defensive side of the ball. Guys, I got this saying, and it's not my saying, but you probably heard this phrase before. Big time players step up in big time games. We have a lot of big time players that are going to be out there on Friday night. Can they step up? Who's going to be that guy on the offensive side and the defensive side to make that big play to take the game over?
All right, Tim, going to be 2 excellent games there Friday night. We look forward to you joining us, as always, here in the studio Friday night for overtime to talk about these games some more.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me.
All right, let's move along now to the Northwest Upstate Illini Conference in the game everybody's buzzing about that just became official Wednesday morning.
Yeah, Dupo will be hosting Decatur St Teresa Friday night. This is a non-conference game. Dupo was supposed to play Urbana this weekend, but Urbana canceled a couple of weeks ago. So Dupo able to reschedule St. Teresa at the last minute. Here's why everyone in Central Illinois and Northern Illinois is buzzing about this game. Dupo is ranked 11th in the state in Class 3A. St. Teresa is ranked number 1 in the state in Class 2A. Both teams undefeated. The Dupo guys are thrilled to have an actual game to play this weekend, and they're fired up to be playing St. Teresa.
The way we presented it is we had a lot of games taken away from us last season, so we didn't want to necessarily take an opportunity to take another game away from these guys. So I think that they're pretty excited once they realize who the opponent it is and what it kind of will mean if we can go out and play well against them. It'll give us a gauge kind of where we stand. You know, we've had a pretty good season up until this point. Hopefully that continues, but you know, we always tell the kids we're never going to be the best if we don't go out and play the best, and obviously they're one of the best in the state.
I mean, obviously we always want to play the best competition to get prepared for postseason, so I think it's just a great opportunity. We know that they're a great team, but we also know we're a great team, and I just think it's going to be a battle all night.
A look at what St. Teresa has done so far this season. The Bulldogs beat Effingham 42-7. They beat Belleville-Althoff 55-0. They then shut out Moweaqua Central 34-0. And last week they rolled Macon Meridian 68-8. Not too shabby there.
I love this matchup, Scott. We all know Dupo, an outstanding team, and this game will give them a better feel for how good they really are and where their strong points are and where they need to get better.
Yeah, and playing a strong opponent like this is only going to help Dupo more become prepared for that big showdown with Lena Winslow in a couple of weeks. And there's really no downside to Dupo if they lose, because they're still going to be tied for first in the NUIC, and they're still going to make the playoffs. So, by the way, that game not going to kick off until 8 o'clock Friday night, because St. Teresa has a little bit of a road trip to make coming up from Decatur.
Well, these are the other games in the NUIC Friday night. Lena Winslow at Fulton, two quality teams there. EPC at Dakota, Stockton at East Dubuque, and Forreston at Galena. Keep your eye on the Forreston. Those Cardinals, they've been playing some excellent football the last couple of weeks. A lot of the Big Northern Conference. Scott, the big game this week, just like last week, will be at Byron.
Last week it was the Tigers against Genoa Kingston. They passed that test. Now the Tigers will host a potent North Boone team. The Vikings are 2-2. It is all or nothing for them in this game if they want to have any chance of challenging for a piece of the conference championship. They got some great offensive weapons on North Boone going up against a Byron defense that just does not give up points.
Byron's first team defense still hasn't surrendered a touchdown this season. The Tigers allowed only a field goal to Genoa Kingston last Friday to keep the Tigers undefeated.
That first half, we played defense great. Second half, we played defense great. It was all about the defense today.
We knew they were really good on defense, and we feel pretty good on defense. There's obviously some things we got to work on offensively, but we'll get better. We've gotten better since week 1.
Stillman Valley has been building lots of momentum since its opening loss at Byron. The Tigers reeled off 3 straight wins. Last week, they had their most impressive one, handing Dixon its first loss of the season, 20-14. Scott, you can feel the confidence growing in this Stillman Valley team.
Yeah, they're a great example of how you don't let a season-opening loss to a big rival like Byron derail your season. You just turn the page and keep focusing on getting better. That's what the Cardinals have done. And they're executing Cardinal football. They've got their power run game going with Jory Spain. They're playing sound team defense, swarming to the ball. All of that should click again this Friday night when they host Rockford Christian on homecoming night. Also in the Big Northern Friday, Winnebago will play at Dixon, Rock Falls at Genoa Kingston, and Lutheran at Oregon. Now, David Bago has been playing some good football the last 2 weeks.
Yes, they have. They've hung in there nicely after an 0-2 start. The Indians have outscored their last 2 opponents, Rock Falls and Oregon, 83-14, and Michael Cunningham's just been on a tear. Genoa Kingston should bounce back strong this week against Rock Falls. Then Lutheran at that Lutheran-Oregon game should be a good one as well. On paper, they're pretty evenly matched, so it's a chance for one of those teams to get a second win. In 8-man football this week, there are 2 big games off the top here. South Beloit, which is 3-1, taking on 4-0 Orangeville. And West Central Biggsville, which is 3-1, taking on 3-1 Aquin. Both of those games will be played Saturday. Also, Oldland Hebron will play at Milledgeville. Low Point Washburn will play at Amboy. The Polo Flanagan Woodland game has already been forfeited by Flanagan Woodland due to COVID protocols on that team. Well, David, let's touch on that big Aquin-Orangeville game that you saw last Saturday. Orangeville won 34-26. What a back-and-forth game that was. Absolutely. Aquin scored on the opening possession, but after that, Orangeville kind of grabbed the momentum right back, and They retook the lead on the next 2 drives, and while it ended up being just a 1-score game, it felt like Orangeville dominated pretty much the entire game from the start. Plain and simple, the Broncos were more physical, they executed better in all 3 phases of the game, plus their number 20 had another one of his typical outings. It helps having a guy like Gunnar Lobdell, who rushed for 225 yards and 3 touchdowns in that one. I spoke to him afterward.
It really just felt like the game of the year. It's a playoff atmosphere, and we put a lot of work in practice this week, and we're going to be prepared. We're probably going to see them again this season.
Yeah. You personally had a really big game, kind of usual day at the office for you. Just talking about what was working for you today.
Honestly, it starts up front. I think I got the best line around, and they make everything happen for me.
How much confidence does this give you moving forward, and momentum does it give you?
This gives us a lot of momentum, but every game's a new game, and the next game's the most important one.
Well, what a football player Gunnar Lobdell is. Here's some other games around the area that'll be played Friday. Rochelle at Harvard, LaSalle Peru at Sycamore, Naperville North at DeKalb, and Moringa at Morris. We'll get to all our top 5 plays from this week, from week 4, and our week 4 MVP in a moment.
Right now, Hononegah running back Stuart Hale joins me in our 2-minute drill. All right, Stuart, let's start with this. We all know you're a heck of a football player, so that's the upside. What's the downside to you athletically? Is there a sport that you've tried that, boy, it's just not your thing, you just can't get it down?
I played basketball for 8 years or 9 years, and I was pretty good at that. Then I tried soccer when I was a kid, and I wasn't very good at that, I don't think. So that's why I kind of went for basketball and football, and then I just chose football because I kind of stood out more in football than basketball.
What other talent do you have outside of sports? Is there something else that you consider yourself to be pretty good at?
I don't know. I feel like it's really just football. I don't really go out of that circle from football. Really, it's kind of just football, more football, pretty much.
What's your stress reliever when you're just kind of like, okay, you know, I just need to chill a little bit, relax, unwind? What's the best way for Stuart Hale to do that?
Probably play games on my phone. Probably lay in bed all night and just play games.
What kind of game? What games in particular?
The whole team plays Heyday. It's really fun. It's about a farm, and you just build a farm up, and we all have our own farms.
So it's kind of like a competition within the team?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know my games that well. All right. Let's talk about your teammates a little bit. Who would you say is the funniest guy on the team?
I would definitely say Connor Thorne.
Really?
He can get me laughing. Yeah. He's a goofball.
All right. Who's the toughest guy on the team? If you had to go to battle with one guy, who would it be?
Clink. I would go Clink because he's big, but like he's not. He looks tough, but I mean I don't know. I think I could beat him in a fight.
Okay.
I think I can get him.
What's your game day ritual? How do you prepare yourself, either in the morning, afternoon, right before the game? What do you do to kind of get yourself ready mentally and physically?
Just music. I put my headphones in, wake up, put my headphones in, and then I'm just tuned in the whole day, just listening to the same song over and over again.
Ooh, he might have started something there with Clink.
You're not much of a game on your phone kind of guy?
Me? No, I'm totally not into video games. I know nothing about them. So, but the Clink Hale thing, we'll have to see how that plays out between those two. Hey, thanks to Stuart for playing along with us. It is time now to count down our top 5 plays from week 4. David, as always, start us off.
Top play number 5, Forrester running back Matthew Beltran against Dakota. Fires through the line of scrimmage and turns on the speed. He'll check his rearview mirror. There is nobody in sight. It's a 66-yard touchdown scamper for Beltran.
Top play number 4 from the Akron-Orangeville game. Broncos running back Gunnar Lobdell taking the handoff. Contact would not stop him. Breaks some tackles and then shows the burst that he has to go with that power. Lobdell raced 47 yards for the touchdown. There is no busting that Bronco.
Top play number 3 from the same game and the same team, only this time it's Orangeville's air game. Carson Rote to Nate Anderson. Anderson avoids 2 defenders, and he's got 1 man to beat, and it's the official, a 61-yard touchdown for Nate Anderson.
Top play number 2 is Harlem punt returner DeAndre Young. He had a couple big returns last Friday against Freeport. On this one, he avoids 3 defenders right off the catch, slips a 4th, cuts back to avoid 2 more before the Pretzels finally catch up to him. DeAndre Young giving me flashbacks to Gale Sayers with that punt return.
I can see it. Speaking of flashbacks, in our top play of the week, Boylan linebacker Jack Curnow looks like Roquan Smith on this play, picking off a Rockford East pass and taking it to the house, just like Roquan did to the Bengals. Curnow makes our countdown top play from week 4.
Now for our week 4 stat stuffers, guys who filled up the box score. Boylan running back Makai Glover rushed for 211 yards and 4 touchdowns against a really good Auburn defense.
Forreston's Matthew Beltran rushed for 148 yards and 5 touchdowns against the Dakota Indians.
Winnebago's Michael Cunningham had a brilliant game against Oregon. He scored 3 touchdowns, he booted 5 extra points, and on defense, he intercepted a pass.
Harlem's DeAndre Young scored 4 touchdowns for the Huskies against Freeport. 2 came on long punt returns.
In our 5th stat stuffer is South Beloit's Fernando Balderas. He rushed for a whopping 339 yards and 4 touchdowns in the Sobos win against Hiawatha.
But our Week 3 MVP is Orangeville junior running back Gunnar Lobdell. And Orangeville's win against Ackland, like we said, rushed for 225 yards and 3 touchdowns. Also had 7 tackles on defense. And there were some players in the area who might have put up bigger stats, but Lobdell gets our nod because he did all of it in against a great Freeport-Ackland team.
Yeah, and you have to take into account the caliber of the competition when we are picking your MVP, right? Some stats are more impressive than others when you consider who they were compiled against. Kind of like in college football, say a running back rushes for 300 yards against Kent State, and another running back rushes for 275 yards against, like, Alabama. Okay, that 275-yard effort would be a little more impressive than the 300-yard effort against the lesser Kent State team. At least that's the way we look at that.
Yeah, a little bit of a difference there.
Enough of that. Let's get into some weather numbers.
Here's Candace King with our football forecast.
Thanks so much. Yeah, you know, the weather may hold out just a little bit here for our Friday night football games. We do have a bit of a wind that'll be coming in from the southwest. That'll bring our temperatures into the mid and upper 70s for the afternoon, but there is a cold front that'll be nearing us Friday evening. So I'm not going to completely rule out the chance for a couple of showers that'll be moving in. Could actually be coming in around that 6, 7, 8 o'clock time frame. Just depends on how fast we're able to see that moisture return. So you've got that chance early evening for a couple of showers. Not a lot of instability, isolated thunderstorm possible. So you are going to want to keep an eye on the radar for a Friday afternoon, Friday evening. A few lingering showers towards the late evening, that 9, 10 o'clock time frame, as temperatures will be dropping back through the 60s. Scott, David, back over to you.
Thanks, Candace. Be sure to join us Friday night for all the Week 5 highlights on Overtime.
That comes your way live at 11 p.m. on Fox 39. It will also be rebroadcast on Fox 39 Sunday mornings at 9.
This is Countdown. Watch for it each week on our website, mystateline.com, on our WTVO YouTube page, and on social media as we count down to each weekend of action.
We'll see you Friday for Overtime on Fox 39.